In Greco sparring, as I mentioned before, I'm always at a decided disadvantage because you can't grab the legs and you can't trip. So one of the main things I found that works for me is grabbing the head in a legal headlock or a legal choke, which I learned from Fang Yuan, and it's legal as long as one arm is in, and then you ride your opponent down to the ground. But in Greco, you do not pull guard. Just like I think it's hilarious when I get the better of him by submitting him, he laughs whenever he takes me down because he knows I can't do anything against his Greco power. And I was not pulling guard here. This was a failed takedown attempt. And why did it fail? Because I didn't control his arms. The first rule of Greco. And if the same technique fails 3 times, by all means, try it again. Here, Fang Yuan is teaching me to do the takedown that I failed at 3 or 4 times already in sparring. Now, the first rule, of course, is that I should have controlled his arms. If I had controlled his arms, I could have taken him over. Here I am, using that technique very effectively against my Sanda teacher, Liu Xin. Fang Yuan is showing me that the defense of this technique is that he's going to sit down and pull his weight back, so I should change my momentum and drive forward. One thing I like about this technique is that it really capitalizes on my strength. And you just keep your body weight on the guy's neck, on his back, and you just walk him down to the ground. So Fang Yuan spun out, he would have got a reversal, but then I cheated, and I used a jiu-jitsu body lock and then a face crank, and I rolled him, and I won. Yeah, I'm not sure if it would be a very good idea for me to go into a Greco competition after this kind of practice. Every day we alternate from standing training to down on the ground, especially toward the end we get really tired. That's when we start practicing the ground techniques. It's so exhausting to fight on the ground, but it's really important for me to learn this for MMA. And now you see Fang Yuan is also cheating. Starting to use a leg hook. I thought about using my leg, but I didn't do it because I want to do it the Greco way, the way he taught me. And I got the reversal. As often happens, our wrestling sparring degenerated into some sort of MMA submission battle. In all seriousness, at the university, all the guys are asking me to teach some MMA, whether it's the wrestlers or the Sanda guys. They all want to learn MMA. So whenever we spar, we always do a few rounds of MMA in addition to whatever we're supposed to be learning that day. One of the many humongous differences between MMA and wrestling, though, is that in wrestling, you've got very short rounds, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes like this, and that day we did MMA style sparring. I mean, this went on for about 8 solid minutes of just grappling on the ground, which for MMA or jiu-jitsu is normal. For wrestling, it's not. I finally tapped out of sheer exhaustion, but I wasn't the only one. Okay, I'm Antonio Graceffo, and that's it for this episode of Martial Arts Odyssey. We're learning Greco-Roman wrestling at Shanghai University of Sport. Bing.